started in 3, 2, 1. Hello everyone and welcome back to 4 Pixels. Cuckoo's here with Saku and Raj, and we are continuing Ace Attorney investigations.
Hello!
Hello, I'm so excited.
That's because they were designed to keep secrets from being leaked.
Oh yeah, the rugged walls, yeah, we looked it up, that is a proper description for walls, but it's just used for guys more often these days.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought Bad was just seeing himself in the walls, like...
What is that supposed to mean? You don't use rugged that way. The doors and walls are super thick. The window panes are double layered.
Double glazed, but okay.
To top it off, even the curtains are made of a special sound-absorbing material.
Why? Actually, but you mean...
Since I was shut up inside lobby number 1, there was no way I could have heard that sound. No!
I knew that's what he was going to say.
Then that means that Scruff-Face's testimony is completely useless. If the rooms are soundproof, then of course he wouldn't have here any sign of a struggle.
Ugh.
That's also why it's only natural that I didn't hear the balloon popping. Weren't they like getting on Gumshoe's case about not having heard the fight?
Yeah, that's what they were saying there, yeah. Of course they didn't hear it, if they're soundproofed.
Yeah, but like earlier wasn't like that part of the evidence against him?
Yeah, but what they're saying here is that Gumshoe's so stupid he didn't realise that they were soundproofed. Because Francisca just said, you know, that just makes that Scruffy Face's testimony completely useless.
Okay. Like,
Yeah.
I guess I was just confused because, like, if these people knew it, then why would, like, if Detective Bad and I would assume the judge knew it, then why wouldn't they take that into consideration when they were telling Gumshoe that... Because it seemed earlier that they were implying that he should have heard it.
Yeah.
Just being mean to Gumshoe. Just
It's
because
just
they
this
can.
game is so stupid with how it treats the evidence and when you can use it against the people.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Coco, stop trying to put logic into this game. The whole point of this game is that Edgeworth's superpower is logic, but he has to use it when the plot demands it.
You may not use logic, only Edgeworth may use logic.
And
Oh, my
only
bad,
when
my
the game
bad.
allows him to. Shh! My common sense is tingling.
Now do you get it, kids?
Miles, I thought we were the ones supposed to be finding flaws in his logic. Not the other way around.
Other way around.
Here it comes.
Dun.
It's not possible to hear the sound of a balloon popping if one were in lobby number 1. However, if we examine the situation in reverse, a person standing in the hallway should not be able to hear the real gunshot either. And yet Detective Gumshoe claims to have heard it while he was standing in the hallway. But the narrator was right. Gumshoe was being cheated. Detective Bad. If that is the case, how exactly did you hear the gunshot?
What do you mean, how? I just did.
It would appear that you have yet to realize the contradiction in your own words.
Oh, how so?
If the rooms are as soundproof as you say they are, why can I hear a band rehearsing in the next room? And how did the sound of the gunshot enter your ears?
I see what you mean. I guess I'm more out of it from Faraday's murder than I had thought.
Which means what exactly, Miles? In the end, what does it all boil down to?
It boils down to this. There must be a reason. As to how Detective Bad and Gumshoe heard a gunshot, they theoretically couldn't have.
It looks like we need to examine the state of the crime scene again, huh?
State of the crime scene. Wait. Can it be?
It's that ultra strong perfume you wears. She spilled some of it.
Oh! I'm way too noisy!
The surveillance video? How could a piece of evidence just disappear? Where did it go?
It's a tornado of logic.
Let's see. Lobby number 2 window. No human can climb through these barred windows. The scent of flowers is in the air. Dissipating the smell.
Dissipating the smell.
The window in lobby number 1 was opened to allow the perfume Miss Yu spilled to dissipate.
And we know the lobby number 2 window's open.
Missing evidence. Where did the surveillance tape from Mr. Faraday's bag disappear to? Very loud television. Lobby number 2's television. It looks like it was set to an incredibly high volume.
Must be like at my parents' house.
Simply not possible for the killer to have escaped through barred windows. And yet the fragrance of the perfume managed to escape from the defendant lobby number 1. Of course, incorporeal things can move freely through these open barred windows. That's how things get from one place to another.
Hate this game.
Yeah, I'm so smart. Daddy will be proud of me.
Don't call Manfred von Karma daddy.
Now then, what else besides a smell can go both in and out of an open barred window? The answer is sound. So no matter how careful the killer was, if the windows were open, the dig would be up. And since the windows in defendant lobby number 1 and the hallway were open, it explains how the sound of a gunshot could be heard in both locations. The missing piece of evidence is a video that shows the moment which Mr. Rell killed the embassy staff member. The sound of the gunshot left quite an impression on me when it was played during the trial. The video should have been returned to Mr. Faraday's evidence bag for the recess, and brought back here. If it disappeared after that time, then it's possible that the tape is still here in this room. Rika, the evidence that the missing evidence created for me is the gunshot sound that no one should have been able to hear in the first place.
Did anyone totally tune out?
It's yeah. He's just standing there quietly. It's like, Miles, where'd you go, buddy?
It's okay.
Miles.
He does that. You
What,
get used
where
to
have
it.
you gone, buddy? Come on. And she's like snapping her fingers in front of his face. He like wafts a scent under his nose.
Or taps his cheek with her crop.
Come on, buddy. Come out of it.
Miles, what have you been thinking about? Come back to Earth. Stop wasting time thinking and let's start looking again.
Coco, I genuinely thought you said fuck wasting time thinking for a second. I'm so sorry.
That's your whole thing, but stop doing it. It's not a waste of time to think. I have figured out where we should look.
Remember that time in the Secret Amana video where we were like, let's not swear for a whole episode, and at the very start of the episode, Coco said, let's see what this bastard like.
Oh, yes, good times, good times.
And where would that be?
I believe we should examine the television.
Or the bed is on. I really want to see it.
Oh wait, we're watching Dance Moms.
TV, time to watch My Little Pony.
Of course he's a brony.
Well,
Definitely
you kids have
canon.
fun. Go ahead and examine whatever you like.
I am going to examine Pinkie Pie.
I have so many theories on what Discord looks like.
Window is wide open.
The scent of flowers is being blown in from the outside. I think it softens the heavy air in here somewhat.
Windows in both lobby number 1 and 2 are open.
Maybe they were trying to air out the room just like in lobby number 1. Or maybe they sought to ease some of the tension through some fresh air.
Those are very cute ideas. With Mr. Faraday and Mr. Rell in the same room, I imagine the latter to be the case. Was there really a need to open the window just for that? It's a video player, and there seems to be a videotape inside.
It looks like it. The tape must have stopped on its own when it reached the end.
And then it did that wild thing where it rewinded it after a while. I used to love it when that happened.
This tape. Could it not be the missing surveillance tape?
I keep having to remind myself that this investigation is set in the past because I'm like, why wouldn't it be digital? And then I'm like, oh yeah, they're all babies.
Yeah.
I suppose, but
Detective Bad, would it be alright with you if I verified the contents of this video?
Sure, knock yourself out.
alright then, let's rewind and this and see what we have.
If I remember correctly, the footage of Rel killing the embassy staff member should be at about the 30-minute mark from the start of the tape.
Understood. Should be about right. Now then, let's see. Oh, that's another superpower Edgeworth has. Stop the video in the right place. That's impossible. Especially if it's long play, man.
Especially if it's this image again.
This is the footage of Mr. Rell shooting the embassy staff member.
I knew it.
You need to put an eggplant over there or something like that.
Yeah, you have to. The missing piece of evidence, the surveillance video, was here all along.
This sound. What's the meaning of this?
It appears that Detective Bad has figured out the true source of the gunshot he heard. With this, I think we can figure out the trick behind this double murder.
Do you mean that you figured it all out then?
Yes. All I have to do now is show what the gunshot Detectives Bad and Gumshoe heard was, and through where they heard it from.
Fine. In that case, show me what you've deduced.
Now to show what the gunshot Detectives Bad and Gumshoe heard was. Like I just said before. and through where they heard it from. Is this spot somehow connected to any of the evidence I hold?
He's connected to many a thing.
If the door and windows to the crime scene, namely this room that we're in, were closed, killer could have used the gun and no one would have been the wiser.
That's true. This courthouse does seem to be well designed for such a thing, as it were.
However, what happened in reality was Detective Gumshoe, Detective Bad, and Ms. Yu. All three of them heard the gunshot.
Well, the windows in lobby number 1, number 2, and the hallway were open. So naturally, the people in those locations could hear it.
But then, why would the criminal open the window in the first place?
To allow the gunshot to be heard, I suppose.
Correct. That's the only logical conclusion that we can draw from this.
But why was that necessary in the first place? I want a real answer, Miles. I demand satisfaction.
Very well. I believe that the killer wanted to manipulate our perception of a certain fact. The killer wanted to fabricate the time of death to their precise wishes. And they used the gunshot in the surveillance video to do so.
So that's why the tape was left running.
You mean the gunshot I heard was from this video?
Yes, which means that the murders really occurred at an earlier time than we thought.
Dun dun dun.
Must have been during the recess, but before Detective Gumshoe was on guard duty. Someone who has no alibi for that time period. And planned this crime out in advance. That person is the real killer.
Mr. Edgeworth.
Yes, what is it?
Ms. Yu's asking for you. She's in the courtroom. She says that she's identified the murderer, but she wants to clarify something. Sorry, my sister came in the room just a second.
It looks like Miss Yu is still investigating something.
Understood. Please tell her that I will be right over.
I'll come along. I want to hear what she has to say.
It would appear that the time has come to uncover the truth.
To be continued.
Right on.
How?
Episode.
Come on, we need the truth. We need it so badly. Does this have to know the truth?
What's it mean, precious?
Save faster, game. You're keeping me from the truth.
September 10, 6:15 p.m. District Court, courtroom number 3.
Courtroom number 3 is dramatic.
Hey, what are you doing here?
Oh, hello, mister. I'm still investigating.
Okay, are you aware of how baby you are?
I'm very baby.
But the object you're looking for has already...
Okay. Don't mind him. Please continue with your investigation.
Okay, you got it.
Detective Bad, haven't we already found what you were looking for?
If it means I can keep her in the dark just a little longer, any little task will do.
Oh, you're more sympathetic than I thought.
Better find out for all I care. Traumatize the girl, like the fast cut song. Humiliate the boy. I've been waiting for you, Edgeworth.
I've also been waiting for the moment in which we can finally lay this case to rest.
I wasn't hitting on you, you don't have to... Whatever. The moment in which we can finally lay this case to rest. Wasn't that when we placed Detective Gumshoe under arrest? I think we would solve this case already. Don't you?
We'll see. It all depends on whether or not your logic holds.
Oh, I see. We even have a viewer in the gallery. And why? Even Mr. Bad is here.
A viewer in the gallery? I'm hardly just a bystander.
I have a duty to see this case through to the end. No matter how it turns out.
Oh, is that right? Anyway, I thought you might like to hear what I've slaved away to find out. I've taken statements on every single person's movements. During the time when our suspect was in the hallway. I also confirmed that there is no possible route of escape from lobby number 2. Therefore, the killer must without a doubt be Detective Gumshoe.
And that's all you have.
Yeah, that's all there is to my conclusion, and this case.
Sorry, but I beg to differ. In a trial, there's always time for a rebuttal, and we are standing in court of law. It would be more than appropriate to follow the rules of court in this case, don't you think?
Doesn't be like a rookie to think such a thing. But alright, I'll play along and give you a proper testimony.
I'm so glad she wasn't around to hit my key pun. If my logic is correct, all I have to do now is prove it, by showing her who the real killer is.
Oh, she's so cute.
She is so cute.
Everyone, sans the suspect, has an alibi for when the gun went off. Furthermore, the areas around the crime scene have all been thoroughly investigated, right? I also confirmed there's no possible escape route from lobby number 2. Which leaves us with one unshakable conclusion that Detective Gumshoe is the killer. Now that you have your testimony, I expect a good rebuttal, Edgeworth.
Of course. There's no need to confront her logic head-on right now. I should instead focus on drawing out any trump cards she has up her sleeve.
Everyone, sans the suspect, has an alibi for when the gun went off.
the suspect, but I thought that Detective Gumshoe's alibi had already been proven.
Joking, Edgeworth?
I assure you this is no joke.
Look, no, you heard from the judge earlier that the detective was in the hallway with Mr. Faraday's daughter eating a Swiss roll.
Yes, that is correct.
But see, that was 20 minutes before the real gunshot went off, right? And the problem is, there's no one else who can corroborate what he did since the snacking.
I see she's done her research as well. Which means I should focus on figuring out whatever trouble that she's withholding.
Or, the areas around the crime scene have all been thoroughly investigated, right?
Whether they have been thoroughly investigated or not is for me to decide.
The eyebrows and lines on your forehead are back. Anyway, even if you believe it hasn't been exhaustive, the crime scene, lobby number 2, has no way out other than the hallway Detective Gumshoe was standing in. And because he claimed to be there, that makes him the only possible suspect.
Isn't it also possible that someone escaped through a window and into the garden?
Please. Silly. The police aren't a bunch of lazy bums. They looked into every possibility, you know.
Maybe not lazy, but...
ACAB. All cops are bums. Isn't that right, Mr. Bad?
Yeah.
Whoa, where did he come from?
Where did he go?
There wasn't a scrap of evidence to suggest someone used one of the windows. There also weren't any footprints or anything in the courtyard garden.
Why is he so short of breath?
It's like he's a smoker, but he's not. He's a lollipop.
Got me on the lollipops after I quit smoking.
I suppose they really did check everything that could be relevant to the case.
I also confirmed there was no possible escape route from lobby number 2.
You're absolutely positive that there are no possible routes of escape.
Of course I'm sure.
I think that if Edgeworth's like, if I say routes of escape instead of escape routes, maybe she'll change what she said. And why are you so...
This is a courthouse, the place where criminals are brought to be judged. If there were an escape route, I'm sure every criminal would be using it to escape. It's just common sense.
Miles Edgeworth, I suggest you use a bit more of it in the future.
Seems as with one unshakable conclusion. Detective Gumshoe is the killer.
You may think it's unshakable, but to me, there are still too many unanswered questions. For example, who was it that placed a gun in Mr. Faraday's hand?
But you're the only one still wondering that. Detective Gumshoe probably had no idea which hand Mr. Faraday used to write with. Even if you know someone, it doesn't mean you know which hand they write with, right? I mean, I certainly don't care about that sort of thing.
I'm not about to let her get a rise out of me with such flippant statements. I suppose we've really reached the end now. I already have my trump card ready. All that remains is to play. But before I do, I think I should inquire into a little something about her argument. You said earlier that you confirmed the alibis of every other person than the suspect. However, I don't recall either Francisco or myself speaking with you about the subject.
There were witnesses. For you, there is your mentor who gave you an alibi.
I see.
As for the little missy, she came to the courthouse during the recess. I was stopped by a security guard at the door to the hallway. She gave him quite a whipping for that, or so I heard.
I'm the daughter of Manfred von Karma. And I will not be forcibly stopped by a guard, or bailiff, or anyone else.
Wait, so basically the only reason Francisca bothered to show up was because she found out I was to be the replacement prosecutor.
Yeah.
By the way, Miss Yu, what about everyone's alibis before Detective Gumshoe was assigned to guard duty?
Out there.
Have you looked into what people were doing during that span of time?
What kind of idiot do you take me for? It doesn't matter when the killer went into lobby number 2. From the time we heard the gunshot to the time Mr. Bad and I arrived on the scene as we dashed from lobby number 1. The only person who could have committed the crime was Detective Gumshoe.
Yes, let's talk about when you and Detective Bad heard the gunshot, shall we? I suppose that if we go by your logic, then Detective Gumshoe is the only one. However, what if the crime had occurred? At an entirely different time than when the gunshot you heard went off. What then? What if it had occurred in space? What then?
Sadly, your explanation is very lacking, Edgeworth, and if it happened in space, that would be fucked up. Hey, if there were 2 astronauts on the moon! The gunshot we heard in lobby number 1. The gunshot we heard in lobby number 1. Care to explain how that could have been fabricated? That tape!
Yes, it's exactly what you think it is. Friendship is Magic, Season 1. Nah, just kidding. This is the surveillance tape of Mr. Rell the prosecution presented in today's. This was found loaded in the video player in lobby number 2. That was connected to the large television that had its volume turned all the way up.
Can't honestly mean that the sound we heard was the gunshot in the video.
Ah, but I do. Which leads me to my next point. The murders occurred much earlier than when anyone heard the gunshot.
That's the only thing I can think of, too.
After committing double homicide, the killer took the surveillance video out from Mr. Faraday's evidence bag, turned on the television's volume all the way up, and left the video to play.
Every time.
If played from the beginning, it would take 30 minutes for the gunshot sound to come on. And since we now know that this method of time manipulation is possible,
We can go back in time and play the song Storms in the Windmill.
yes.
Little one for Saku there.
It opens up the possibility that the killer is someone other than Detective Gumshoe.
And with that, we will end this episode right here. Thank you guys for joining us, and see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.